If Tua does not have a good season and help this team get over the hump, or at least get them in the second round of the playoffs, Tua's going to be gone. They're not going to extend him. And I know everybody keeps saying there's no quarterbacks. There's not a lot of good quarterbacks in next year's class. We're going to be talking about that differently after the NCAA season, because there'll be a quarterback or two that are going to show up and actually play well, and are going to be one of our guys, and Riley Leonard, who we haven't had on the show for a little while. He's going to a school where he has a chance to be. He's going to Notre Dame, right? And he has a chance now to put up numbers in his school that is going to be pretty damn good this coming year. Very good defense and a very good offensive line, as they always do. Riley Leonard could be up there. He can move up into the first round, or maybe an early second round draft pick. I don't know the list of quarterbacks that are going to be available next year, but I'm sure they're going to be a lot better quarterbacks than people think. So, but I looking at this deal, I think this is crazy. You're giving two wide receivers about more than a quarter of your team's salary. And, the average annual of what these wide receivers are making now. I mean, there are quarterbacks making 45 to 50 million. So you're telling me a wide receiver who plays mostly all the snaps, who only probably touches the ball probably 4 or 5 times. He is getting looked at probably 7 to 10 times, but touching the ball 4 or 5 times, you're going to pay him $30 million a year. It's ridiculous. These guys are making a lot of money. Obviously, they're explosive players. I like Jaylen Waddle. I think Jaylen Waddle is a sensational player, but he can't stay healthy. He wasn't healthy over there in Alabama in the NCAA, and he hasn't been healthy here in Miami. But when he is healthy and he's on the field, he's productive. That's why they added Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham gives him another piece, another weapon inside, where they can move Odell Beckham in the slot. I think that's where he's going to be better now as a veteran player. I think it opens up the field for guys like Waddle. It's going to open up the field for a guy like Tyreek Hill. So, and they have the weapon. Mostert had one of his best season of his career with 18 touchdowns, one of the leading running backs in the league with the touchdowns, and a Pro Bowl player. I like what Miami gives. I like what Miami is going to do offensively, but the problem is, are they going to be healthy? And do you trust Tua to stay healthy for a full season? He wasn't healthy for a full season last year. So he didn't have any concussion problems because he didn't run the ball really. The first time I saw him run the ball was in the playoffs against Kansas City. Right. All right. I didn't see him run the ball a lot this year. So what bothers me about this move is you're depending on these wide receivers to show up. And if one of them get hurt, if both of them get hurt, all that money is invested into that when you could have invested into your offensive line, where you could invest it into your defensive line, or you can invest it into your secondary, or some other, pieces that you could be using moving forward this year. So there's a lot of questions with the move. I think it's Jaylen Waddle's a sensational player. I'm worried that you're putting too many eggs in one basket. Tyreek Hill is still at the top of his game. Why would he retire? They're going to have to extend him and give him an extension on his contract. If he's still at the top of his game and he's getting 1,400 to 1,500 yards and he's the best weapon they have, you're still overpaying another wide receiver on your team that's making $28 million, and you're still going to have to pay Tyreek Hill after this contract an extension where he's going to want maybe $35 million or $32.5 million. And now again, you're paying two guys almost the same amount of money for two guys that can't stay healthy. And that's a big problem. I can tell you right now who could go there next year in Miami. Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott will be available next year. The Cowboys are not going to extend him. They're not going to give him. Everybody keeps saying he wants $60 million. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell they're giving him $60 million. I believe that if Dak becomes an unrestricted free agent, I could see him going to Miami. I could very much see him going to Miami. He's as accurate as Tua is, and even though he's not a proven player in the playoffs, I think Dak's a better quarterback than Tua. I think they're going to let him go. I mean, first of all, Tua has another concussion like he did 2 years ago. His career's over. Right. He's never. Are you going to pay a guy that kind of money? Just think about this. If you give Tua an extension, let's say he gets about 190, something between 190 and 200. Okay, because he's young. and you give him $100 million guaranteed. If he goes down that the next year or a year after, you're still paying him that $100 million guaranteed. You put yourself in cap, not only a cap hit, you're cap hell. That's what you're putting yourself in. And then you got to rebuild again. To me, the best thing they could do is if Tua doesn't get them to the AFC title game, you let him go. You can't take a chance like that. I mean, he did not show up in that game against Kansas City. Right now, if you look at Tua, I'm not going to trust Tua. I'm not going to trust that he's got weapons. Anybody can throw to those weapons. Tyreek Hill, all he's got to do is go after the ball. Throw the ball over the defense, the secondary, and let him go after it. I mean, Waddle's the same thing. They're both gifted, running athletes with speed. Odell Beckham is another guy that has a tremendous amount of speed when he catches the ball. I mean, they have as fast a team offensively than any team in football. Even their running backs, Mostert's very fast. Who's the other kid? Chan, who's very, very fast when he was healthy. So they have as explosive offensively. They're as explosive offensively as any team in football. So I would think that even if he has a good season, which he will, if he doesn't get this team in the AFC title game, you part ways with him and you look for free agents because Kirk Cousins could be available in the offseason. Because Michael Penix, if Kirk Cousins gets hurt or anything happens, I could see Kirk Cousins getting traded in the offseason. That a team is going to go and give him an offer that they can't refuse. So Kirk Cousins, a guy. There are other quarterbacks that'll be available in the offseason as well.